the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank you once and always for downloading and listening to the show, and encourage you to download and listen to the show anyway on Spotify. It could help potentially going forward. Thank you once and always for downloading and listening. It is a great pleasure to be back over with you once again today, as we're going to kind of continue to talk about, I guess you can say kind of Hawaii a little bit. I'll probably bring that up a bit. I have a theory about something like one of the Jeremiah Johnson prophecies back in like March 2020. Something very interesting that a lot of people probably didn't notice about it, that might shed some light on things and might actually lead to something very interesting that could be going on right now. Maybe. We'll see. And yes, get caught up. There's at least one comment that I need to get to on the mailbag that brings up a very interesting topic, like the ongoing summer of fires. I could probably open with that right now. The summer of fire. That's what this has been. And heck, the spring and summer of fire, maybe the fall of fire as well. Like 2021 was kind of like the year of the drought. Massive drought. It kind of continued in 22, kind of continued this year a bit for a while, but then it got really rainy as we headed into August. 2020 was obviously all the lockdown bullcrap, and even into 21, but not as much. And how they're talking about that again. I could probably get into that in a little bit as well before I get down that rabbit hole. Interesting thought, because I brought this up a few weeks ago. I don't think I talked about it on the last episode. Well, maybe I did, but I'm going to bring it up again because it's interesting. It really has been the summer of fires. And of course, you had that massive Hawaii story that's still kind of an ongoing thing where Biden finally shows up and they're like, oh, look who showed up. Bleep you, bleep you, bleep you, bleep you, bleep you, bleep Joe Biden. And I agree. He doesn't care at all. But also the other thing is there's some weird substance that's been showing up on leaves for quite a while, especially since all those fires and everything. There was like a weird substance on the leaves. I was saying, and a lot of people have been seeing it, kind of a sticky, weird, like residue. And I definitely believe it's related to all the smoke and such, and quite possibly chemtrails as well. I was saying, look at the layer of God knows what that's been showing up on leaves everywhere from all that nasty smoke. That's been going on all summer. Something very suspicious about the whole thing. Lee Hepner says, it's so they burn better, LOL. My garden squash leaves have that stuff all over them as well. And yeah, I do think it's so they burn better. And there has been talk about how a lot of the stuff that's been kind of, been getting dropped from the chemtrails can actually help make things burn better, literally. And that's part of the reason of what's been going on. A lot of people believe there's a lot of arson going on from the Antifas and such of the world and try to play this global warming game. You had people blaming climate change on the Hawaii fire. But no, it was actually a natural cause because of the hurricane. Well, it started with the hurricane, with the winds, and then the neglect in terms of the electric transformers, like not the area being around them being cleared because, well, there's potential for wind, especially around in Hawaii. And the next thing you know, terrible things happen when the transformer gives way, a massive fire starts, and things continue to get worse and worse and worse. That's absolutely fact that caused a significant portion of the fire, if not all of it. That kind of led to everything, kind of got things started. So Lee Hepner, sorry if I didn't get to that on a previous episode. So in case you're listening, coming in out of Canada, thank you very much, Lee. Yeah, see, I don't... Nope, I did get to this one. Yeah, it was about Sylvester Stallone and such. It has been very humid the past few days, and no, I do not think it's climate change. It is also related to a hurricane. That would be Hurricane Harold, where Hurricane Hillary, of all things, is related to the winds with Hawaii and such, and also does help the heat go up as well, coming from the southwest, where Hurricane Harold is blowing a lot of humid air from the Gulf of Mexico up here, which led to a dew point reaching 80 a couple nights back, which is insane. Dew points have been hovering in the 70s ever since. It's pretty crazy. Touching in the 60s for a couple seconds, but yeah, it's been either like India or Atlanta around here of late. I talked about the Rakat structure on the last episode, and said a lot of people believe that could be Atlantis. And we'll talk about that on a later show. I'm going to come back to that at a different time. We'll get more and more into Nephilim and such there. But not so much with the mailbag to get caught up to today. But yeah, obviously Lee Hepner, I really wanted to get to that. So I'm glad I got there, because I don't think I read that. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But just in case I didn't, I made absolutely darn sure to do so. What was I going to get to? Yes, the prophecy by Jeremiah Johnson. I believe it took place around March 20th or so and was aired. Stephen Strang brought Jeremiah Johnson on his podcast, The Strang Report. Very good, and I still subscribe to it ever since. And not because Jeremiah Johnson was on it for that prophecy, to talk about the prophecy, like it was like a dream he had. Not necessarily a prophecy, but a dream he had, which can be like a vision of things to come, this and that. And I've got some stories as well in the past, but not relevant to the show at the moment, though I could bring it up. But yeah, people have dreams of things that could happen. What this could symbolize and what that could symbolize, like Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible, the giant statue and such with the gold on top, that was Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, and so on and so forth. The silver, I believe, was Greece, and then bronze and all that was like Rome, and then I got further down, I believe that was Rome. That might have been Persia, and then further on it was other interesting stuff. We'll get to that again also at another date. I apologize to Jeremiah Johnson, though. I may have talked about this. I think I did way back. No, I couldn't have. I might have brought it up and like in passing, because I didn't start doing the show until late 2020. But in March 2020, Prophecy Jeremiah Johnson, I didn't listen to it for I didn't catch on to it till like a month or two later, and then listened to it, and then subscribed to Stephen Strang ever since. He talked about having a dream that he was in a baseball stadium, right? Jeremiah Johnson was in a dream in a baseball stadium. And then there was the New York Yankees. And then all of a sudden, there's this big batter came up wearing the number 3 like Babe Ruth. But it was Donald Trump wearing the Yankees pinstripes and everything in Yankee Stadium. Number 3 like Babe Ruth's number. But then the man on the mound that was pitching was a very tall, slender, demonic figure. And then he looked up at the balls and strikes, the scoreboard, this and that. And it said 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the indication was that the demonic pitcher was going to strike out Trump with a fastball. But then all of a sudden, when the pitcher threw the ball, when it started out fast and then it suddenly got slowed down, and then God's voice came out and said, I'm going to slow down the enemy's progress. I'm going to slow down the enemy's progress. And the next thing you know, the ball was coming very slow to Trump, and then Kapaya, forgive the goofy terminology, he crushed it into the upper deck or whatever, a massive home run. And yeah, so at the time, it was like, okay, so when's this home run going to come? And they're talking about how, it's the pandemic, this and that, and the enemy's going to strike out Trump, and he's going to hit a home run, and, all this wonderful stuff's going to happen, and we're going to get through this pandemic, this and that, blah, 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 blah. None of that happened, and Trump didn't win the election. Well, he did, but you know what I mean. He wasn't, the right winner was not given the proper votes. The evil did win that one. The evil won that battle, right? And then, unfortunately, Jeremiah Johnson was labeled like incompetent or this or that, or he's full of crap, because there have been a lot of bogus prophecies over the years bogus prophecies, or like maybe it was just a dream, it can't be this or that, maybe you exaggerated or whatever. And then Jeremiah Johnson was so embarrassed that he kind of sort of quit and like and started over, so to speak. But at the end of the day, all these years later, it's like something in my head when I listened back to I was like, I need to listen back to that. I'm curious now, because what if that dream wasn't related to the time? What if that dream wasn't related to 2020, but 4 years later, somehow, some way, 3 to 4 years later, somehow, some way? And did we miss something? Was there something very important that we all missed in that dream, including Jeremiah Johnson? That was of major significance, almost like a Matlock episode. An episode of Matlock where, like, say, he was defending this, it's a really amazing episode in Matlock in the first season. Arguably the first season of Matlock is the best of all. Not just because it's in the mid-'80s at the time, mid to late 80s, 1986, but because, and into early 87, sorry, but because it was an amazing episode and the story was so good, where he was defending this this Vietnam veteran. He was still young in 1986, like 40s or so, right? Upper 30s, 40s, whatever, so to speak. In 1979, so 7 years before, he was defending this soldier that they thought he had killed one of his best friends, because there was this group of guys, they were all best friends in Vietnam, right? And so they were soldiers in the war. And the man obviously knew he didn't do it. He didn't do it, and Matlock believed him and blah, blah, blah. But Matlock couldn't find enough evidence to clear the soldier, and he was convicted. And it's like, why would he kill him, though? See, they were partners in business. They were working together in this big business, whatever. There were 3 men working together. But then, years later, when the guy got, many years later, when Matlock tried to defend him again, and he's like, wait a minute. Yeah, much later in the story, jumping ahead, of course. Spoiler alert, right? yeah, right. But yeah, I recommend watching the episode. But it's like, wait a minute. Of course, I couldn't have defended you because the information wasn't there yet. And he had just tapped into the tip of the iceberg as what was really going on. The real killer was the other soldier. The 3 soldiers. He killed 2 birds with one stone, literally. He killed like the main guy of the business, and then the other guy got locked up for the murder. And the other guy could steal to his heart's desire. Steal. He was robbing. It was the tip of the iceberg. And he got the soldier's wife. They had a secret affair the whole time. Not that the wife was guilty, because the wife didn't think that the real killer, the wife didn't think that the other guy did it, so to speak. So now I'm going off into another rabbit hole, and I apologize. But the whole point to this long story that I'm dragging out much longer is that the evidence wasn't there yet. So there was nothing to defend, but now there is. See, at the time, most of us would think 3 balls and 3 strikes. Well, it's what do they call that? The payoff pitch, right, in baseball. Like, something's got to give here, unless it's 100 foul balls, right? The payoff pitch, 3 balls and 3 strikes. But of course, nobody would have thought of 3 balls and 3 strikes at the time, because what does that have to do with anything? It's the payoff pitch. Now here comes the big home run or the big strikeout or whatever is going to happen. But the 3 balls and 3 strikes to me, I think could be the missing link to the whole thing. Could it be related? Could some of the balls and strikes be related to these indictments that have been taking place way after all of this, way after the pandemic, way after Trump got forced out because of BS votes from Biden and all that, and the January 6th, that could be maybe one of the strikes, maybe the impeachments was one of the balls, maybe the indictments end up being a ball and a strike, this and that, but I think that could be it. And then all of a sudden, here comes the final pitch to try to knock him out for good, strike Trump out for good, and put him in prison. And then something happens. God slows down the progress of the enemy, and Trump hits a home run, a big mammoth home run. The enemy's proven false, their story's proven false, and he wins the election in the landslide of all time. Quite possibly, maybe the enemy's thievery of the last election is exposed, and the country finally sees the truth, and that a lot of people that were voting for Biden realize how little he gives a rat's you-know-what about all of us and about Hawaii first and foremost. He kind of showed us how he really cares about this country, and I think a lot of us have seen how Joe Biden feels about this country, which is absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Where Trump truly does care about this country. He loves the country very much. Very much. He may run his mouth a little bit, the mean tweets, this and that. Well, he doesn't even want to go back to Twitter anymore. But it's the New York personality. What are you going to do about it? You can take the Trump out of New York, but you can't take the New York out of Trump. It is what it is. It's a New York personality. Take the good with the bad, right? But again, I think the thing we all may have been missing all along, because, well, we couldn't have thought about it at the time. The balls and strikes. Why would the 3 balls and 2 strikes be part of that dream? I do think that could be the missing link, and maybe, just maybe, Jeremiah Johnson might end up being cleared in all this at the end of the day. He might end up hitting a home run too, which would be really something, because I was mad at Jeremiah Johnson. I was pissed off, forgive my French, when I wanted to kind of, email in like, okay, so what do you think is going to happen, this and that. This was around the time when, Biden supposedly had won, and they're declaring him the winner and all that. And I was thinking about, they're trying to strike him out, and here comes the home run, and what's going on. And then all I got was a stock email back saying that myself and Kenneth Copeland and other pastors are going to, it might have been Jesse Duplantis, I don't think so, but might have been. We're all going to be talking this and that, and here, $20 or $15 or whatever it was, and you get is your pass to watch our video, to watch our live cast talking about the election. And I was like, really, man? Really, you're going to make people pay to watch your conversation? And that's the best you can do? And then, obviously, again, every single thing with QAnon and all that absolute bullcrap, malarkey, whatever, from QAnon. Oh, Trump has got it this time. He's got them, and this and that, and he's going to win now, and they're going to declare him the winner by February. They're going to declare him the winner by May. They're going to declare him the winner by August of 21, and none of that happened. It was all horse crap. And I feel like an idiot for listening to QAnon for 5 seconds, much less maybe like a week or something, or like a month or something. Thank God it wasn't anything longer. But at the end of the day, I've got a feeling that maybe, just maybe, how everything kind of, how God says, and there was something in the dream as well, that in my time, in God's time, in my time, like God in the time, not me, literally. That was God saying it. I think you know what I mean. That this will all happen. He's going to slow down the enemy's progress, and then Trump's going to hit the home run. In my time. I just might have a personal story that could be similar about God's time, where it feels like nothing's happening and, being let down, prayers aren't being answered, but maybe, just maybe, it could be the more beautiful thing than you ever imagined. Obviously, going to heaven is the most beautiful thing of all time, and if you're saved, you ask Jesus in your heart, make him your Lord and Savior, of course, heaven is the best thing that could ever happen to you. It truly is. So that's definitely something to look forward to, no matter how yucky things are, no matter how nasty the weather is, no matter how much, your back hurts or whatever the heck. But heck, by Jesus' stripes you're healed, first and foremost. So keep saying it. Say it. Say it out. Defeat the enemy by saying the name of Jesus. So now I'm turning it into a sermon here, but I'm totally fine doing that as well. I'd rather give a sermon than be screaming and cursing and screaming and cursing and making a scene. So there's that as well. Interesting. Okay, sorry, I just read something. But with that said, again, that's what I'm wondering. Could it be? Wouldn't that be the most interesting, darndest thing of all time? Regardless of Jeremiah Johnson, that was annoying with the whole, pay to get to the telecast, whatever, you're watching him streaming online, talking about the election. That was annoying. I'm sorry, yeah, that doesn't look good. And then, obviously on top of all that, to be wrong about, Trump's going to have 2 terms or something. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. I mean, he is running for president right now. And the enemy's trying to strike him out right now. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Just keep praying and believing that, that God will open the eyes of a lot of people and obviously slow the enemy's progress. But, and show people just what kind of president Joe Biden truly is and how much he really cares about all of you. He cares so much, let me tell you. Oh, he really does. He cares so much he showed up 13 days after the fire. Didn't care at all. Or was it 10 days? But it was ridiculous. I think he addressed it 5 days finally after no commenting and such because he's too busy like soaking his feet or something. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's a disgrace, as Trump might say. But with that said, thank you very much for listening. I'm going to keep this right around here. Thank you so much for listening. God bless all of you. Join the Facebook page if you could. Facebook.com/Freedom of Thought 1776. There is no paywall at all. If you want to donate, it's 100% optional. I agree with Truth to Ponder. Oh, subscribe and you'll get all this exclusive content. No, this is exclusive content right here. This is all you need. I'm not going to have a secret interview with somebody that only paying customers can have. Nah. You have to pay for that. I'm not going to do that. I think that's not. I don't think that's good. So I agree with Bal Bierman when he expressed some irritation with that this past week. Man, he is dead on with that. It's seriously, members only, $7 a month. Come on, guys. Come on. Like, seriously, do you want to get the word out or do you want to get money out of it? Like, optional donations, go right ahead and ask for optional donations. But keep them exactly what they should be, optional. If I don't get a single penny from any of you, that's your choice, and I can't get mad at you. God bless you. God bless you. I love you, America. And those of you outside of America that might love America and want to support America as well, just by simply listening and maybe, spreading the podcast around and opening people's eyes about what's really going on. Because really, at the end of the day, it's not a fight of flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. There are a lot of evil forces out there. Just like, say, like a podcast like Blurry Creatures talking about Bigfoot. Blurry Creatures, pretty cool. And yeah, go ahead and listen to it. But see, Bigfoot, some of them think that it's an actual mammal, an actual creature. I think it's a spirit. I think most evidence would tell you it's a spirit. So, and that there have been too many sightings that are familiar, like in terms of like, yep, this is the same as the other people and this and that, and it's too many similar things and all that. And at the end of the, for it to not be real. And at the end of the day, I'm not a huge Bigfoot person, like, oh, Bigfoot, but there obviously has to be something to it. But also the fact that how quick and elusive the creature is, it's not, I don't think it's flesh and blood. I think it's a spirit. I think it's a Nephilim or something. Something's going on there. It's either a spirit or just a flat out regular demon. So that's my take on Bigfoot at the moment. With that said, again, I told you the Facebook page, and it'll be in the show description. Twitter account is a Twitter/PostX or X post is at Freedom of Thou 76 because Freedom of Thought doesn't fit, or something like that. 1776 doesn't. It's been taken, and Freedom of Thought's been taken, and blah blah blah. So it is what it is. Somehow I got on Facebook though, so go figure. With that said, hope you found that interesting and I didn't ramble my head off like a fool, and that it is worthwhile to you. And if it is, please tell your friends. Don't be afraid to send in an audio submission with your smart device, which is basically, this is again another mobile episode for my personal reasons, rather not recorded at home at the moment. With that said, have a wonderful next few days. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.